What can a Century 21 agent do for you? They open your home, solve your problems and pat your dog. They provide the service of a butler and the savvy of a business tycoon. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster.
And right now it's time to take a look at the last numbers for 2015, and we'll jump to Charles.
I actually got a scramble chart I sent you today with lines all over it as well.
We're going to show that at the end, so we'll do our normal ones.
I still can't work it out, but we've got to try and work it out when it comes up on the screen.
We looked at your picture, there's lots of colourful lines, and God knows what it means.
There is.
So we'll start with the clearance rates.
The Century 21 logo, that was very clear on there.
Yes, yeah, I don't know who put that on there. 59.3% were the clearance rates nationally, up from 59.2% last week. So, you know, I wouldn't call it a trend, but certainly 59.3%. Last year was 65.5%. So our winning capital city is Melbourne at 65.7%. There you go. Sydney was 55.2% clearance rates.
And so it's gone, I mean, for the start of the year, you're always talking about calming the market and the rest of it. Are we going to get to desperation and you're going to say, come on, Zed, we need to move things? Yeah. When is the point of desperation that you think, God, we need a kickstart?
Oh, you know, if you put a property on the market at an auction and you sell it 55 to 60% of the time, I think you're doing pretty well. That's, to me, is a standard real estate market, because a lot of people put their properties on the market that are way too high in price and they're never going to sell, or their motivation's not there. So that's not a bad clearance rate. We've just been out of the box on most of it.
Charles, we take into account as well that so many properties that didn't make the 60% cut on auction day, in the next 7 days are still moving.
Yeah, some of them are moving towards the end of that period.
So
there is definitely probably getting into the 60s, but...
homes advertised for sale. Anything coming on the market?
No, negative. Oh, massive change. It's been declined for the last few weeks. This week's a bigger decline at minus 3.18%, so it's dropped even more. In New Zealand, wow, negative 16.8% over this time last week. Auckland had the biggest falls, but their market is really, really going... you know, like it's on fire. So if their stock is dropping, they are still going to have a better cycle of real estate than we are here in Australia with the new year starting and over Christmas period. They're going to do much better than the Australian market.
And then what's happening with rents? Anyone moving at this time of year?
No, they're gone negative. They're gone negative. We started the year at a certain point and we were sort of right on the edge a year later, but today it's dropped. It's a negative of 0.48% from the start of the year. But Sydney had the worst drop this week at negative 0.71, followed by Brisbane at 2.2 and Melbourne at 2.1 negative. So they've been pretty good, though, when you look at it from a yearly point of view, when people are expecting rents might drop because of the fact that buyers were, you know, tenants were coming in buying, but they're actually not too bad. They're stable.
And vacancy?
And vacancy, yes. 2.33 for Sydney, 3.54 for Melbourne, and 7.08 for Perth, which is a bit scary. 4.32 for those three capital city averages.
Now, I want you to explain this next graph.
Has it come up yet? I haven't had a good look at it. I did ask my team to put it together. It's just an overlay of the four charts when you look at it very, very closely.
That looks very clear.
Can I look at it without looking away?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you have a look at it there, you can see the most important ones are the listing numbers and the auction clearance rates. You'll notice how the auction clearance rates were really nice and steady in red. When you look at the listing, which is green, you'll find that the clearance rates were higher when the listings were low. I think we were expecting that supply and demand, but that really shows you clearly the supply and demand issue. And then you start to see the supply kicking in towards the end of the year. Look at it climbing magnificently, and at that absolute point, the auction clearance rate starts to drop really quite strongly. So that's really the key at the end of the day. You know, if you've got more buyers than you have properties for sale, that's always going to be an issue. And you can change the interest rates here or there, but they're so low now it really doesn't matter. It's about supply and demand, and some capital cities have got a good supply now, and it's changing.
Now, this is how you can tell how clever Charles Tarbey is, because you look at that graph and he can actually explain it and get some logic out of it.